Whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably right. And in this video today, I am going to be going over the 2 lies that keep catchers from playing Division I baseball. So that way, by the end of this video, if you are a high school catcher who is truly wanting to play at the Division I level, then you can understand the exact 2 lies that are going to be the ones that hold you back the most from seeing your goals and dreams come true. So let's dive right into it. I've put it into technically 3 different categories. On the bottom, we'll get there last, of the true mindset that you should actually be pursuing. And then up top is going to be 2 different buckets, guys, that is going to explain exactly where most of your guys' mindsets are. So within the 2 lies that keep catchers from playing D1, there is unrealistic, meaning you don't think it is realistic for you to be able to do this, and then there is unbothered. So we're gonna start here on the unrealistic side. Someone who believes that Division I baseball is unrealistic is someone who has put that as their goal and dream. And that is totally fine. When you close your eyes, they've said, okay, that is where I want to be one day. But they put it on way too high of a pedestal that they don't believe that it can actually start to become a reality one day. So that can be a very big issue where you think it is way too unattainable, that it is always going to stay a dream. And if you know anything about what I say, dreams one day need to become a reality. So these players feel, again, like it's unattainable. It's not going to be able to happen unless like some crazy miracle happens, if they were just straight up talented enough, something like that. And they really doubt their beliefs and just overall everything about themselves. So they don't know if the skill set they have right now, the genetics they have, the body type, if they're even going to be able to get to that level at any sort of time that's soon. They also have a fear of failing. They don't want to fail. So it's easier to say, well, I don't want to go to the Division I level and fail, so I'd rather go to a different level or maybe not even play college ball because that'd be embarrassing. I don't want to put myself out there like that. For me personally, I wanted to play Division I baseball so bad, but then at a point when I had a throwing issue, my arm was not good at all. I had like a weird injury. I was not confident in my throwing, and I used to have nightmares, it sounds crazy, in my sleep about me being at a huge Division I program and someone going to steal and I couldn't throw them out and my coach was yelling at me. Pretty crazy stuff, right? I was like genuinely terrified of that. But it's because I deep down did not have that belief, and I was like, okay, I don't want to go to D1 anymore, which is pretty crazy. So also the next one is they feel like they have no time left. Like no matter what, they're just like, yeah, like it's too late for me to get recruited there. Can't do any of that. So essentially, if you've noticed already, just in these 4 points, if you're on the unrealistic side, you put D1 way too high on a pedestal, you pretty much just feel like there's all these excuses as to why you shouldn't do it. And you're going to listen to everyone around you saying why it's too hard. Next one is you would say it's not meant to be me, or, in this case, not meant to be you. Like, it's just not in the cards for me. It's not what God has in store for me. And I just don't think that I'm supposed to be going there. I'd just be happy with any level. And I want you to know that you, to this next point, should not be settling, okay? Because this player would be okay with settling. They're okay with just going anywhere at any level. Guys, when I transferred from a JUCO to an NAIA to a JUCO to an NAIA, I at all times was not okay. Like there was still a pit in my stomach, like I wish I was at the Division I level. Like it upset me. I wanted to be there so bad, and I never wanted to settle. So don't ever settle. This player who thinks D1 is unrealistic is going to settle. And then also they make excuses early in their high school career. They make excuses as to why it's not going to happen, and it's just all fear. It's just fear as to why they wouldn't want to see their goal and dream come true, because I'm willing to bet that if you were good enough to play D1 and you actually got offers to play D1, you would probably take the opportunity. So here you are trying to save yourself before anything embarrassing or bad happens. Then the last one is they have no structure for catching skills. So no wonder why they're not confident, because they're just doing random stuff, random drills from social media, only seeing a catching coach 1 time a week, or only working with their catching coach at their school a few times a week. And none of that is actually going to help them. So this player is one who, being very honest, is if they feel this way, are not going to get to that level. They've pretty much already talked themselves out. So if they don't believe that it is realistic for them to do that, and they're just constantly being too harsh and negative on themselves, it is very, very small chance that that is going to happen, that you're actually going to get to a D1 and then finally believe. So, and even if you did get there somehow through all this poor mindset, poor training, and a poor plan, like, are you actually going to get good enough one day to play there and be the starter? That would be very low odds. So don't be too unrealistic about your goals, right? Like, you want to make sure that, yeah, I can play Division One. The catchers that play Division One right now were all in high school at some point, and they all did something in order to get there. And if I figured it out, I could too. I think that's awesome. Great mindset. But you also have to now go on this other end and not take it too far as to being unbothered. This is where many of you guys feel like it's just going to be easy. All right, you just feel like this is an overall preface for this side that, you know, D1 is like obtainable. It doesn't really matter where I'm at right now, but that's my goal and dream. So it's always going to be my goal and dream, and that's okay. And you know, hopefully one day I sign there. And very, very different than this guy who thinks D1 is way too high on a pedestal. This guy is delusional, very, very delusional. Okay, they are overconfident just in general with where they are in their career and their own abilities. Okay, they don't really feel like they need to improve much in their catching. They feel like they're pretty good right now. Next point, again, satisfied with their skill, with where they are. And again, they think it's going to be easy, so they're not going to want to improve anything within their mental or physical game. They feel like they have too much time. All right, I'm a junior, I'm a senior, I want to catch at Vanderbilt in the next year, the year after that. Like, all right, don't ever let me tell you your goals and dreams can't come true. But dude, that's a pretty far-fetched goal if you haven't gotten recruited by any college. Not saying that dream should die, but okay, what would you actually have to do with what time you have left to get there? Now you need to start thinking like this guy just a little bit more, not just super unbothered. And then they have this mindset, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If I'm supposed to be at D1 one day, if God wants me to be there, I'm going to be there. I'll just kind of work as hard as I can. And then one day I think I'm going to get there. That is a very, very poor mindset. Okay. You should be working as hard as you can, as focused as you can. And then yes, see if that's what God has in store for you, but do all things unto the Lord with your best ability, guys, as hard as you can, and strive for that highest level. Okay. You're doing no one a favor by just saying, if I get to any level, like, you'll be okay, whatever. Because if that's your mindset, you're going to get to any level, but you're not going to start because your mindset isn't to be hungry and to pour gas on the fire that's already been lit. You're just going to coast and be satisfied and honestly lazy. So you want to get away from the if it's meant to be, it'll be mindset. This player who's unbothered is also okay with settling. They do not mind settling for any sort of level at the college level. If you have good grades, and that's when a player's like, I don't even know if I want to play college baseball in general, you know, and then they kind of just burn out. But they still would say, well, I want to play D1. And that's a true statement. I'm sure they want to play D1. Everyone, if you were to ask them, wants to play D1. But this unbothered player isn't actually going to do anything to get there. And then they make excuses late. Different than this player who makes excuses early, they make them late. Once they start seeing the writing on the wall, people are starting to sign to colleges and they're nowhere near that goal of where they said they wanted to be. They start making excuses and they start, even worse, to believe them. And then that's what starts the trickle down effect of, are they even going to play college? And just some really, really deep, I would say, kind of just holes they go into of like, I was just, you know, thinking I could play D1 recently, and then now all of a sudden it's shifted into like, I don't even know if I could play college baseball. And that can really, really affect your, you know, your mentality and then how you view your baseball career forever as to like, yeah, I don't really know what happened. And it's all because they were too delusional until it was too late. Last point is they have no structure for their catching skills. So they literally are on the same boat for their catching development as this guy who's unrealistic. So kind of key point where this guy is just doing random drills he finds from social media here and there. has no tailored plan for his catching development. Might be working with an in-person coach one time a week, doing group work at practice with whatever catching coach they have provided. Random and random, not good, okay? So it doesn't really matter what your mindset is, because this is the same underlying issue for both cases, where you do not have any structure, you do not have any plan, you do not have any breakdowns or programming specific to what you need. So whether you think D1 is way too obtainable, you're right. And if you think it's not too obtainable, you're also right. Now, what are you going to do to actually get there? You need to pretend like that version of yourself in the future has gone D1 and he's figured it out, and you are the best possible version of yourself all around. What did that guy do starting today with where you are in high school every single day in order to get that good? Because you can't just dream like this unbothered guy and think you're going to go D1 no matter what, and think you're going to play baseball at the highest level at the hardest position in all of sports, which is catcher, by not getting extremely good. And then on this other point, you can't think that once you actually are working with the right plan that, oh, well, it's not meant for me, it's not in the cards. That is a coward mindset, guys. That is a coward mindset. Do not do that. If you truly believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, think back to when you were a little kid. Which school did you want to play at? And when you told yourself, I'll do anything to get there. Don't let life get in the way of that. Have that good mindset that you can do it. Now back it with real structure. Now, for the very few of you guys who feel like you don't fall into these categories and are like the player I was, then you're going to be those who know they belong at a D1, that you know you belong there, and you are backing it up with the actual work that would take to get there. You're not unbothered, meaning you just are dreaming just to dream and you have no real plan to actually get there. And then you're going to come up with excuses, and you're not too unrealistic where it's like, wow, D1 is just on a different planet. That's just not meant for me. No. Those who know they belong at D1 is this. They have unshakable confidence. Okay, they know who they are as a player, and they are still getting better each day, but their confidence right now is unshakable. They know that they should be there. Okay? I like this. I came up with this. They're realistically dreaming. All right? They're not dreaming for a low level because they know they're better than that, but they're also not dreaming for a level that is way too high that they're not matching with where their actual skills are right now. So I call it realistically dreaming. Dreams are something that oftentimes for players stay dreams. They don't become a reality, and that's not good. You want them to become a reality someday. That is how you see your dreams come true, or else they just stay dreams, and when a dream stays a dream, it just dies and fizzles out. So you want to dream realistically for where you want to be. Don't be too delusional, but also shoot for them high. And the realistic part is, what are you realistically willing to do to get there? Are you realistically willing to do a plan focused towards you every single day with a catching coach, even on the days you don't feel like doing it, every single day? Okay, if not, then you're one of these guys. And you can't be helped. You can only maintain. Now the next one is extreme work ethic. This D1 guy is already working really, really hard. And he's not D1 yet, but he just knows that that's the level he wants to play at and is willing to do whatever it takes to get there. But he has an extreme work ethic. He's doing things with his dad in their backyard, having his dad throw to him. He's working on drills he sees. He is doing group work at practice, maybe even a one-on-one private catching coach. And he is working hard during all that. But he's not willing to settle until the fat lady sings saying you are not meant to go D1. You have to sign to a D2, NAIA, D3. Then he's not willing to settle, because realistically he could still go to a JUCO and then transfer to a D1 out of there. But a lot of you guys think that that's some backup plan, some easy path. No, arguably going to be harder. But they're not willing to settle, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. Just like me, I had a lot of D1 offers or D1 interests out of high school, not offers. And I could never get an official offer from some pretty big schools, and even some mid-major D1s where I'm like, this seems like a great fit. Could not get that for sure offer, and it upset me. Then signing day was coming. I didn't really panic, but there was a good JUCO that wanted me to go there, gave me a good scholarship, and I'm like, I think I'm meant to go to the JUCO level. So I signed to the JUCO level out of high school, thinking I'm going to go there 1 year, might get drafted right out of there, and then go to whatever D1 I want to after 1 year. And I ended up having a very brutal awakening of college baseball and how hard JUCO baseball is. And I was able to have a pretty good season, but not like I thought I would. And then that's kind of where my story went from me bouncing around to 4 schools from there. So just understand that JUCO isn't just some like easy level, but I was always willing to grind, and I was never willing to give up on D1 until, it's my senior year in college, and I realized there's no possible way for me to do that anymore. Last one, or second to last one, is they understand the time that they have. They're realistic with the time. So they might be a junior and they might be like, okay, I don't have a lot of time. I need to have a great junior year, and I need to show out right away with the right, plan for their recruiting and for their catching development. And they're realistic about the time they have. Because if you're a senior and you have no offers in general, you've barely played on varsity, and you want to go play at LSU next year, that's going to take a miracle, if I'm being honest, okay? Just being very honest. A lot of these big D1s want to finish their recruiting early for certain classes. So they understand the time they have. If they're a freshman, a sophomore, they're like, okay, I want to play there no matter what at that D1. And I feel like I can make a push for that, and I'm not scared, and I'm going to do that. So they actually have a little more time. But the last one that's a positive for this player is willing to invest their time, their money, their effort. They're willing to do it all in order to see this come true, this D1 goal come true. They're willing to invest it all. All the chips they have, like at a poker table, they're putting in the middle, saying, with what time I have left, I'm going to get as good as I can with the resources I have, with the work ethic I have, and with the time I have left. And if you're one of these players, you're not really actually going to do that. You're always going to complain. You're always going to wonder why it didn't happen. And then you're always going to feel like somebody owed you something. You're never going to take control of your own career and what you should actually be doing daily. But this player is willing to do whatever it takes. If that costs money, they're willing to do it. That costs time, they're willing to do it. That costs more effort, willing to do it. Now, the only issue with this guy, and I'm sure you guys could see this on the bottom, it's written really poorly, is guess what? Even though they hit all these boxes here, they still have no structure for their catching skills. So if you notice, that's the same exact one here, same exact one here, and same exact one here. So this guy doesn't get a free pass because he hits all these more mentally, even maybe physically, talent-wise, about how he knows he wants to go D1. He doesn't get a free pass because guess what? He's still doing the 3 training options that catchers have available that are inconsistent. Random drills from social media on your own, trying to coach yourself. Group work at high school or club ball practice with a catching coach who's just provided, who only works with you a couple times a week. Doing a 1-hour session with a private catching coach, paying for their time only 1 hour a week with no plan the other 6 days a week. That's what this guy still has to do. But he believes in himself a lot more. Is this guy better than these two? Mentally, absolutely. Maybe even a little bit physically because he's been working harder. But at some point, they all have the same training structures. So if you're with this guy who's unrealistic, who feels like D1 is just way too out of the goal, way too out of being a reality, honestly, you're going to stay that way unless you change something. Same goes for the unbothered guy. These guys are just more upfront about how their dreams won't come true. But this guy has a chance. This guy. So if you've been watching this video and you feel like you are this guy, and then you know that these are your training structures, what makes you think if you were this guy that you can do these same training structures that these guys have access to and still take your skills to a whole new level, even if you have a head start mentally and a little bit physically. You can, because the goal isn't just to sign to D1 if you're this guy, it's to actually get there and play and have that good college career and then play even further after that. It all starts with when you step foot on campus day one. That's exactly why here at Backstop Built, I created the 4th training option that actually gives catchers a daily plan, real evaluation custom to them, a community full of other catchers that are just like this, all the resources to improve your catching, not just blocking, throwing, receiving, but everything, A to Z, because our position has so much in it. And one-on-one support, so you actually have a catching coach in your corner every day. That's the D1 recipe to get rid of this and start having a training plan that reflects where you want to go. I can't help this guy and I can't help this guy. But I can help this guy. And I want to help this guy. So if this is you and you realize that you don't fall into these 2 buckets and you hit all these checkpoints and you know you want something daily that is actually going to help you custom to what you need, then go ahead and hit the link in the description below and go ahead and book a call with you, me, and both your parents with whatever time works for you in your time zone. And I'm going to go over your video, see if you're a good fit for the program and how we can help you achieve your goals of actually playing Division I baseball as soon as possible. This call is completely for you guys, and I want to make sure you are this player and you actually want to see your goals and dreams come true. So I hope you understand this video. If you're a high school catcher who you've always said you want to go D1, you've always explained that, then you realistically fall into one of these 3 categories. So which one are you? Do some deep thinking on that, and then when you're ready for a plan that's actually going to get you there, go ahead and reach out to me and tell me why you believe that you should go to that D1 level and why you want a plan that's actually going to reflect that, and then we can get to work. So thank you for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel as I drop a lot of these valuable trainings for you that are completely free. And again, if you want to get on a Zoom call, a catcher evaluation call to see where you are in your career, how we can help, in the description below, you can go book a call in your time zone. Again, I require both the parents to be there. So this, guys, is the 2 lies that keep catchers from playing Division I baseball. And I hope you're able to understand which one you are and what you're going to do going forward. Without further ado, I'm Coach Brock. God bless. Stay the course.